The death of Lucerys Velaryon ended any illusion that the war could remain controlled or contained. What had begun as a succession dispute was now personal. Mercy disappeared, and in its place came revenge. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra Targaryen was consumed by grief. Lucerys had not only been her son, he had been her messenger. Her hope for diplomacy, her reminder that peace was still possible. With his death, that possibility ended. At court, she became increasingly withdrawn. Some said she barely ate. Others said she would sit for hours staring at the sea, as if expecting her son to return from it. But behind the sorrow, anger was growing. And so was Daemon's influence. Daemon Targaryen did not believe in half measures. Where Rhaenyra mourned, Daemon plotted. He demanded retaliation, not against armies, not against castles, but against something far more personal. He sent a message into the heart of King's Landing. Its meaning was chillingly simple, sir. A son for a son. To ensure the message was understood, he employed men who knew the city's hidden paths. A disgraced gold cloak, a rat catcher familiar with the secret tunnels beneath the Red Keep. They became known as Blood and Cheese. The assassins entered the Red Keep through forgotten passages. They avoided guards, slipped through shadows, and eventually reached the royal chambers. There, they found Helaena Targaryen, wife of Aegon II Targaryen, along with her 3 children, Jaehaerys, Jaehaera Maelor. The assassins took them hostage. They forced Helaena into an impossible choice. They told her that one of her sons would die. She must choose which one. If she refused, they would kill all 3. Helaena was terrified, confused, broken by fear. She pleaded for mercy. She tried to bargain. She begged them to kill her instead, but Blood and Cheese would not be moved. Finally, under unbearable pressure, she named her younger son. She chose Maelor, but the assassins betrayed her words. They chose differently, and in the darkness of the Red Keep, they murdered Jaehaerys, the heir to the Iron Throne. Helena's screams echoed through the castle. The royal court was shattered. When the truth reached Aegon II Targaryen, his grief turned to fury. The king, who had already lost his throne's legitimacy in the eyes of many, now lost his son. Any remaining restraint disappeared. The Greens responded with overwhelming violence. No longer was this a political struggle. It had become a war of extermination. Across Westeros, noble houses made their final decisions. The Greens, led by Aegon II, controlled King's Landing and the Iron Throne. The Blacks, led by Rhaenyra, held Dragonstone and the loyalty of the Velaryon fleet. Dragons were no longer symbols of power. They were weapons of mass destruction waiting to be unleashed. Every lord understood the truth now. Whichever side won would rule a broken kingdom. The first major dragon clashes began almost immediately. Castles burned. Armies were destroyed before they could engage. Skies filled with fire and smoke. The war was no longer fought on battlefields alone. It was fought in the air, and the skies of Westeros would never be safe again. Rhaenyra's forces struck first in the Riverlands and Crownlands. Aegon II's supporters retaliated with brutal force. Cities changed hands. Lords were executed. Entire regions fell into chaos. Every victory created new enemies. Every loss demanded revenge. The Dance of the Dragons had become exactly what its name implied. Not a war, but a slaughter. Even those who had once supported either claimant began to question everything. What had started as a dispute over succession had become a cycle of vengeance that no one could control. Children died. Cities burned, dragons fell from the sky like dying gods, and still neither side would yield. For both believed they were the rightful ruler of the seven kingdoms, and neither could imagine surrender.